So I want to confirm if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? I want to get that feedback. Can you guys hear me? So can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm seeing and thinking that you guys can hear me. Right, that's amazing. Can you hear me? Amazing, amazing. Amazing. So can you guys hear me? You can hear me now? That's amazing. I apologize so much for the breaks that we had. Trust me, we're 101% prepared. Super shocked that all of these things did happen. Right, but the main thing is you can hear me now. Can we dive right in? Can we dive right into this? Can we dive right into what we have for today? Amazing. So please share the link everywhere that you can. Share the link everywhere that you can, and let's dive straight into what we have for today. Right. Because of how much of time has been expended, I probably may not be able to dive in as much as I would have loved to into all of the concepts I would have loved to cover. Right, but be rest assured that the value of this webinar is still going to be intact. Does that make sense? Right? Value of this webinar is still going to be intact. Does that make sense once again? So let's pull this through. So before I push on, I want you to do something for me. I want you to please go around and share this webinar link. In all our groups. So go around and share the webinar links everywhere. Go around and share the webinar links everywhere, and give me feedback. Share the webinar links everywhere on all social media. Tell them what I started to whine. Right, so this is the last break we're going to have, and we're going to fly straight into this. Right, so we'll give ourselves about 3 minutes before we fly into this. Does this make sense? Or let's give ourselves about 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. Does that make sense? So yeah, share the link around. We'll start this webinar in 3 minutes. Right, see you guys in 3 minutes. So yeah, I was apologizing for the webinar quality that you are seeing right now, right? Those who saw the webcast found out that we had a better quality, but we had some technical difficulties and had to switch to this. Yeah, once again, we are here, right? Does that make sense? So let's do this, guys. Let's do this. Let's fly through right here. So a last confirmation that I'll make that you guys can hear me and that my video is not breaking. Those two things. So if you guys can hear me and my video is not breaking, give me a feedback again. So I'm waiting for that feedback. It does lag a bit. Once that happens, we'll fly through. Yeah, can you hear me, guys? Apologies. Tonight is just a night, too. I'll be real with you guys. Not be every webinar they go smooth. Some days you plan and life will just laugh at you. I think it's one of those nights. If you have been close to me, you will know that I'm known for excellent support. It happens like that once in a while. I can't keep myself. Does that make sense? So can we actually fly through? And I think we have asked this question too many times. So I think we should just fly through. We should just fly through. It happens like that. This is life, right? Man prepares, God laughs. Okay, maybe not God, but life laughs. So yes, like I said, we'll fly through immediately. Right? We're going to talk about a few things that I need you to pay serious attention to. Right? There's a reason why I'm having this webinar. Right? If you're one who is in tandem with or in touch with my schedule, you know that I have quite a number of webinars within this season. And there's a reason why I'm still taking pain within the hectic schedule to have this non-paid for webinar, right? And there's a reason, like I said, it's that important that we're having this non-paid for webinar, right? Even while it's not exactly convenient. Something happened to me and it prompted this concept of water to wine. Right? For those of you who probably don't have a Christian bias, it's important that you understand that I want to explain where the water to wine concept came from. So, like I said, apologies to those who don't have a Christian bias. I am a Christian and I do. So we had this, we have this parable in scriptures where Jesus Christ, at some point in time, he was in a wedding and they needed water, right? And I said they needed wine. They ran out of wine, and now they needed to get wine. And so Jesus Christ told them to fill some water pots with water. And then, in a split second, a miracle happened, and then turned that water to wine. So that's where the name water to wine came from. So I was coming back one day, and I had a conversation with a young man. And this conversation touched me a lot. That's actually what sponsored this newsletter and this webinar. Sorry, the newsletter series and this webinar. I'd never talked to him. I just knew him, head knowledge for a long time. I think like a year or two. No, sorry, 5 years. And then this guy, I just knew him. You just know someone exists. Pass him in the morning, pass him in the evening. So one day I sat him down and asked a very simple question. I said, I remember asking him, I think, what's your philosophy of life? I can't exactly remember the exact question I asked him. And when this guy started speaking, I was hearing a lot of wisdom. And then I was so surprised. I said, how come nobody knows about this guy's wisdom? How come it's not heard? For one of the few times, I read a lot of books, a lot of materials, but then very rarely do I always find people who can always relate to almost all the materials I've read. But I think this guy was able to relate to almost all the materials I've read. And I was so concerned. Like, you're not meant to be shared. This wisdom is rare. It's meant to be up there. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I began to ask myself, why are you up there? Is it like you're extra smart or you are... And I just sat down and I realized, that was not the case. I wasn't extra smart or extra intelligent or extra all of those things. I simply knew some things. I like the way a portion of scripture put it. He said the race is not always to the swift though. Right? It's not always him who is fastest that will always win the race. Right? So, I don't think people yet know this. And, my prime attention is obviously people who are just growing. Are you with me? People who are just growing. And my job is to try and ensure I can show you these things. Like, hello, you're not just going to go up because you're hardworking. You're not just going to go because you are smart working. It used to say hard work versus smart. Are you with me? If you ask a lot of people what is smart work, they can't even define it. It just sounds like an intelligent thing to say. Hard work versus smart. What is smart work? Are you with me? Right? And that's exactly what I want to help you see and do within the next few minutes that will be here. Does that make sense? Right? So there's been an overemphasis on input alone, right? Input. So they'll tell you, how many of you have seen those YouTube videos where they say rich people don't sleep 8 hours daily. Rich people don't sleep 2 hours daily. I hear what I'm saying. So there's always this emphasis on input to generate output. But let's do a few examples, right? If I do 2 plus 5, it's equal to what? 7. Correct? I don't know maths. People should answer me in the chat box. Right? If I do 2 times 5, it's equal to what? 10. Are you aware that if I do 2 times 20, it's equal to what? 40. I do 2 times 100, it's equal to 200. You will find out that the 2 is constant, but something is either adding or multiplying that constant input that is bringing greater results. Did you hear what I just said? Something is multiplying the constant input that is making it have greater results. So we have been taught to change the two, that is, put in more results, put in more work, which is correct. Are you guys with me? But then that's only one side to the greatness equation. Can you find multipliers to your inputs to bring greater effort? Can you find things that you will add to your tool, to your hard work, to your little input for success? Are you with me? And it seems like everyone is talking about trying to change the two and forgetting the fact that we can multiply these two. Even when your 2 has become 10, if you still multiply it by 100, it's 1,000. Right? So this is how I like to say it. When we ignore our points of leverage, when we ignore points where we can leverage our little results, we will grow very slowly. So it's not just about efforts, but your efforts plus leverage will be equal to superior results. Did you hear what I just said? That's very vital. So the whole goal of this webinar is to show you a couple of leverage points that you can add to your input to produce superior results. Are you with me? For some of you who read the newsletter that I sent out, I told you something. That if I want to properly carry a car, it's going to be really hard. But then there's something we call a jack, a hydraulic jack. You put it under the car, and then I don't know how many of you have seen or have probably done, you're just jacking with probably little energy, and the whole car is being lifted up. Are you with me? That's really important. If they tell you to carry that car on your own, you probably will never be able to carry it. Does that make sense? But then that jack is a leverage, turning your small to big. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Sorry for the break. So it's very important. Very, very important. I want to show you a couple of leverage points so that your water can be turned into wine. Does that make sense? Right? Now, if you read through that scripture, or if you peruse the example scripture that I'm using, right, where Jesus turned water to wine, and like I said, if you don't have a Christian Bible, sorry, I beg you. Right? You'll find out something. I was doing a research preparing for this webinar, and I found out that, are you guys aware that it takes about 3 full years? 3 full years. The entire process from taking grapes from the vineyard, processing it, and all of that before it turns to wine takes about 3 full years. So the wine they were drinking previously took 3 years approximately to get into that cup. But then water in seconds plus leverage. Now the leverage there was the miraculous. But that leverage compressed 3 years into probably less than 3 minutes. One of the things you will find out is that speed will happen. So in that split second where water was turned into wine, the other processes that needed to happen, they needed to plant, they needed to harvest, they needed to process it, press it, They needed to purify it. They probably needed to employ some human energy. Probably they needed some tractors. I hear what I'm saying. But then it was compressed. One of the secrets of speed is not mere directionless hard work. It is hard work plus leverages. Hard work plus leverages. I'll say it one last time. Your hard work plus leverages. One last time. Your hard work plus what? Leverages. This is very important. Are you guys with me? Okay. Right. So I'm going to tell you, I have a couple of leverage points that I have here. I don't know if I'll be able to take everything. Let's see how that goes. But I'll take the few I can take and shoot out this webinar. Right. Number one is, listen to me very carefully. I was on a call yesterday with someone for quite a long while, and she was asking these questions again. The first leverage point that I'm going to talk about here is this. Listen, you must see your name as an asset and start investing in it early. Did you hear what I said? You must see your name as an asset and start investing in it early. A lot of people don't know this. So when you say investments, they're able to see stocks as investments, they're able to see crypto as investments, they're able to see all of these things as investments. But listen, your name is an asset, and you need to start investing in it. So I have about 5 sub points explaining this. Seeing your name as an asset and investing in it. Number one thing I want you to realize is that just like any other assets, for example, we were helping some young people to get real estate, that's landed properties. That's one of the things we're doing. We're trying to help young people to get very secure real estate that will appreciate. But this is it. You probably won't buy a piece of land today. You probably will not buy, well, it can happen in crypto, stocks, whatever, but you probably will not buy a piece of land today, and tomorrow you have 100%. It can happen, but it really does happen. Are you with me? And so, one of the things you must learn to do as a young person seeking to turn water to wine, that means you're seeking to gain increase and speed. Pay attention. You must have the ability to see beyond your nose. I'm going to explain what that means. It really just means a lot of people, I want to give examples. I'm looking for the perfect words. A lot of young people, let me use a concept to explain this. Now, there's a concept called bifurcation. Now, bifurcation or bifurcation, one of the two, happens when something entirely divides. So, I think I learned it from a dental term. So, it's used when your teeth or tooth, whatever, entirely breaks into two. So, usually, if there's a hole in a tooth, they can fill it up. But then when bifurcation, I know it's bifurcation or bifurcation. Somebody help me look up and give me feedback, but that's fine. Happens, you will find out that the entire tooth has divided. Does that make sense? So usually they will need to take it out. And we have this myth as young people that there is an entire division between our young age, does that make sense, and your adult age. So you think there'll be a point in your life where there will now be one remote, they will now say adulthood, play. No. So you hear people say things like, let me do this now when I grow up. You said it when you were 17. You said it when you were 18. You said it when you were 19. Now you are 20. You are saying the same thing. Does that make sense? Bifurcation. Right? So I want you guys to take a pause now, everyone. And I'm going to take 1 minute, 30 seconds thereabout, right, to 2 minutes, and I want you to share this out now. Share this out everywhere on your status. I'm intentionally stopping at a suspense point here, so we'll talk about furthering what I was talking about now. So I want you to go around and share this out while we take a short break. Does that make sense? So let's play our hit soundtrack. Let's play our hit soundtrack, right, while we're waiting for a minute or two. So let's take it forward. How are we doing? I hope you guys have shared the link to the whole world. So let's fly back into what we're talking about. Hope you guys have shared the link to the whole world. Share it everywhere, 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 everywhere. Amazing. Can we fly through? Right, so just give me feedback that you can hear me and all of that, and we fly through. Just give me feedback that you can hear me, and then we fly through. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's just fly through. Back to what I was saying. Amazing. So I was talking about bifurcation, and I was explaining something that bifurcation means, an entire division. So we have this false thought line that there is a line between our youth and our what do you call them, our adulthood. Are you with me? Are you guys paying attention? And so thus we believe there's a point where everything in your youth just doesn't count, and you can just start afresh. Sorry. The only place where that thing works is in Christ too. What you are doing now will affect you. So I remember when we were in secondary school back then, something happened, and we're actually looking for someone who could manage a studio, right? And I remember then they asked me a very simple question, because we went to a secondary school that was a Christian secondary school, right? So they were very, very keen on all these boy and girl things. All these boy and girl realities. Right. So the studio was a relatively enclosed place. So it used to be a very good opportunity for people who were not inclined to have their fun. Does that make sense? So this particular day, the studio manager came into the studio. When he got into the studio, something happened. He was asking a question. He said, the place was filled, I think, ladies and guys, and it was just an unhealthy scene. And the guy was angry. And then he made up his mind that I was going to change all the people in the studio. And then I remember then he asked me, because I was a responsible, I see the responsible. I know responsible. I will kick you out of this webinar. Right? So yeah, he came and he told us that. And then so he came and he asked me and he said, please, we need somebody. Look at the requirement too. Who will not allow women inside this place? Can you see that? And there has been this guy in our class. There are always those guys that it seems like women have no power over their lives. This guy, you cannot bend him. Women have no power over their lives. Okay, for feminists, no, then women and men were not allowed to be in that space together. Not like there was a discrimination against women. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? So there was a discrimination against women. Right? Not like there was a discrimination against women. Oh, please, I beg. Right? So, women and men had different spaces, but, they could be in that tech space. So, long story short. And there's this guy. You see, there's this guy in our class. I don't know how many of you went to boarding secondary schools back then, but you find out that we used to call something back then, they rub your head. So, sometimes if ladies want to get stuff from you, they'll probably just come and use one amazing voice and just say, oh, Bolu, now I haven't had anything today, and all of that. So we used to call that thing rubbing of head. So you get some days maybe an assignment and all of that. So we had this hard guy series. So there are some set of guys that see, no matter what you do, you can't rub their head. No, there's nothing you can do. Whether or not I was part of those guys is not your business for this webinar. That one is not your business. Just hear the lesson I'm teaching you. So yeah, like I was saying, so just rub. So but there was this one guy. Do what you want. Say what you want. You can't rub this guy's head. You can't rub his head. Now the whole thing was that he just had a very great exercise of his willpower. Are you guys with me? He had a very heavy exercise of his willpower. And I cannot forget. Someone is asking if I was part. Spiritual Hunger channel. Please, where's my admin? Help me move him off this. Oh. Anyways. Right? So you couldn't move this guy. Now, it looked like that guy was... It looked like that feature was just a joking feature. But you see, once they mentioned it... Sorry. I knew there was only one guy in the entire school who I could vouch for. All the remaining people on the line, they had bent, we used to say this jokingly back then. We say, man, we've lost a man. One of our army has gone. That means they can now rub his head. So, but this particular guy didn't bend. You cannot rub his head. So we immediately they called. I referenced that guy. And pay attention. That guy eventually got to be in that studio, right? And when we got to the university, then that guy rose to he knew nothing about sound. He knew nothing about mixing. But then he got to be the highest position ever when it comes to sound when we're in university. The highest. I think they call that unit technical unit. Highest, head of it. Are you with me? But every time I would tell myself, That's just a random example. This guy's actions and inactions were investing into his name. Are you guys following me? Eventually, that asset paid some returns. Now, some of you are not aware. When you are stealing, but let's think about it together. And this, like I said, we believe, oh, we'll just grow old and all these things will vanish from people's mind. It doesn't work like that. So everybody is probably, doing something in a class or not doing something in a class. Are you guys with me? Right? Maybe you are the only one that doesn't steal. You're the only one that doesn't cheat. You're the only one are you hear what I'm saying? You'll be surprised that 5 years from now, they will need somebody of integrity, and it is you they will remember. You know the funny part? Let me give you an example. If you and your guy, you used to do treacherous things. You know about treacherous things? And then suddenly, both of you graduated, and then, probably you have a sister now. And then maybe like 5-10 years from your graduation, you realize that your sister starts seeing a guy, here and there. And then your sister now says, I'm ready to get married. Oh yeah, oh no problem. Who are you getting married to? And then they bring this your guy. Who you know what you have done with him. And you understand what I'm saying? You know what you've done with him. The question is, are you going to allow your sister further the marriage? Does that make sense? It probably would have been 10 years, but then those returns are reaping. I say something jokingly that God did not allow me to be stupid with my youth. And so bulk of the places where people are just planting seeds, I'm already reaping harvest. That's the first thing you must realize. You must be conscious that whatever you are doing or whatever you are not doing is building images in people. And those images are going to speak for you sooner than you think. Does that make sense? I remember some other time. I'm privileged to be a TEDx speaker at a very young age. Right? And I began to ask myself, I sat back one day and I was asking myself, how did you become a TEDx speaker? Are you the best? Are you the most, intelligent? Do you have the best things to say? But then I sat down and I remembered, somebody referred me. And I was asking myself, now this person we met, closely last while I was in secondary school. But then, I became that was like about 4 to 5 years later. Just remembered and referred me. Are you with me? Some of you are enjoying your young age and killing your future referrals. It looks like you're having fun. Let me tell you, that guy who is going to club with you, when he becomes a very successful businessman, right? And he has a company to manage, he will not put you because he knows we were irresponsible together. Are you paying attention to what I'm saying? You must begin to see your name as an asset and invest intentionally in it. Are you with me? That's the A portion, right? The B portion of that is, about seeing your name as an asset is you must begin to own a space. Pay attention. Own a space. And owning a space simply means you are associating yourself with something, your name with something. So let me pause and ask, if you hear my name anywhere, what are the possibilities that you are thinking of? I want you guys to give me a feedback. When you hear my name, what are the possibilities you are thinking of? What are the possibilities you are thinking of? Right? I want everyone to give me a response. And now you see that. If you hear my name, boluokunade, What are the possibilities? What are the things that are coming to your mind? What are the things that my name is associated with your mind with? So I'll wait for that feedback. Obviously, the stream would lag a bit, right? Somebody is saying finance, somebody is saying the foreign exchange, money market, somebody is saying, you see. So I'm saying, can you see that? But then the average thing you would consistently see is money, finances. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Finances, money. Are you guys with me? Now that brings us to a very important thing. Was it always so? The question or the answer to that question is no. But then, is it now so? The answer to that question is yes. How did it become so? I owned a space. Or I still do own this space. It's not past tense. Are you guys with me? That's very, very important. So we see people, you are doing everything. You are into fashion, you are into photography, you are a model, you are an artist, you are a listen. The money in any industry is at the top. It's with the masters. You must pay the price to become a master. Right, let me show you guys something. As you know, and I get this a lot. When they mention your name, if they cannot tie your name to something, you don't have a space yet. So you must pick something, and I'm going to further on this. You must pick something and tie your name with it and consistently push it out. Did you hear what I said? Pick something, tie your name with it, consistently push it out. Does that make sense? So it's very important that you pick something and begin to own your space. I don't care what space it is. If your friends, your close friends, ask them, what do you know me for? If they just know that you are a good friend, you have not started. Are you with me? You must begin to associate your name with something early. It takes time and it takes consistency. Let me tell you something. People are going to buy with you when they KLT you, and KLT is short for know, like, and trust. People can know you, people can like you, but trust is built with time. Do you hear what I said? People can know you, people can like you, but trust is built with time. So the earlier you start, the better for you. The earlier you start, the better for you. Trust is built with time. Very important, right? So you must take your name and begin to associate it with a space. I don't care if it's a carpenter, knock that wood very well. Put it on your status. Carpenter, best carpenter you can find. Are you with me? That's the first thing. You must begin to own a space, right? So when they call your name, something should begin to start. Usain Bolt, races, running. Nike, clothing, basically a clothing brand. Apple, do you understand? If your name doesn't ring a bell of something, you are not doing it. You have not started work. Does that make sense? And the next thing about seeing your name as an asset and investing in it is, listen to me, is called what I call vanity metrics. Are you with me? Vanity metrics. Now, what exactly is a vanity metric? I heard these words first from an amazing mentor of mine, right? Vanity metrics, right? So in case you have not yet In case you have not yet done so, please um take the link, share it, take a screenshot of this, of what you are learning, put some things on it, share on your status, tell them tell them that actually water is turning to wine. Are you guys with me? Share the link everywhere, right? In case you haven't done that already, so share the link everywhere on all your statuses. Does that make sense? Very important. Very important, right? Are you guys with me? So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is vanity metrics. So what exactly are vanity metrics? Let me tell you the truth. It's not exactly the best. Or let me ask you a question. Who is the fastest man in the world, or who was the fastest man in the world? Right? It probably was Usain Bolt, right? At the point in time. Are you guys with me? It was Usain Bolt. But who is the fastest man in the world? Pay attention. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Now, it is Usain Bolt that you know to be the fastest man in the world. Are you guys with me? But then, is he actually the fastest? Listen to me carefully. There's a reason why I'm taking time to explain this. That he's termed the fastest does not mean he is the fastest. Now, why is he the fastest? Because he has run at the most decisive point to make that decision. That is the Olympics. There probably can be somebody who is faster than him, but as long as that person is not at the Olympics, we will never know he's the fastest. Are you with me? Listen to me. You live in a world that just determines ability via some vanity metrics. Let me give you an example. Are you guys aware that if you go to vendor A and the vendor has 2 followers, and you go to vendor B and the vendor has 20,000 followers, who will you think is succeeding more in business? You will think it's probably vendor B. Who will you be more comfortable buying stuff from? You will probably be more comfortable with vendor B. It does not actually mean vendor B is a better salesperson, or it does not even mean vendor B's what they call them, vendor B's goods are better. Are you guys understand what I'm saying? Simply because vendor B has a higher number of followers, vendor B, let me tell you the funny part, it's called, I think, the Matthew principle. Because vendor B has a higher number of followers, vendor B will probably get more buyings. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I hear what I'm saying. Very important. Very important. I hear what I'm saying. Right? So this is it. You must realize that the way the world rates people is via what we call vanity metrics. Does that make sense? They will probably think I'm a better speaker because I have larger followers. Are you with me? How many of you have seen people online? Let me even get this feedback. People online, marriages, because they are posting pictures of them kissing, because they are posting their whatever. I hear what I'm saying, right? You now think that their marriage is actually good. You think their marriage is very good simply because they are posting things online. Are you with me? Are you aware that marriages that are suffering, the couples can be fighting, and be selling marriage courses, and then because you are seeing picture A and picture B, you think that they are doing really well, right? They will act skits and act all of those short videos. So listen, the way the public rates people is via some vanity metrics, followers, likes, and all of those things. Listen, you must train and position yourself. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You must position yourself. You must position yourself. Are you with me? You must position yourself. Are you hearing me? To appeal to those vanity metrics. But then you must ensure that those vanity metrics are not how you make decisions. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? You must ensure that you appeal to those vanity metrics. But those vanity metrics should not be how you make decisions. Does that make sense? It's very important. Do you guys hear what I said? Appeal to the vanity metrics. But then the vanity metrics should not determine how you rate your judgment. So you know that people are going to check your followers. Please take your social media account serious. You know that people are going to check your LinkedIn. Take your LinkedIn account serious. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? I didn't used to be on Instagram or all of these social media before, but I realized that this is how people make decisions. So because you know people are that unintelligent that they rate capacity via these vanity metrics, he who has capacity but does not know how to position them properly through the lens of these vanity metrics will still suffer. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? So you must position yourself in these vanity metrics properly. Very important. Does that make sense? Very, very important. Right? And let me pause and say this. There is a thin line between fake life and vanity metrics. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? Fake life is making or wanting people to see you in a way that you are not. Does that make sense? Proper branding is getting people to see you in the way that you actually are. So you are giving them a particular lens with emphasis in how you want them to see you. Are you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm taking time to explain this. Very important. I used to say, oh no, I don't do social media, I don't do all of those things, I don't pay attention to that. They will leave you behind. Are you with me? Very important. So you must pay attention to your vanity metrics. Right? The next thing is what I call authority metrics. Authority metrics. Now there's a law of three. And the law of three simply says that when somebody sees your face in 3 different events, on 3 different posters, whatever, the person automatically thinks you are popular. Did you hear what I said? When someone sees your face in 3 different places, the person automatically thinks you are popular. So authority in a space, it is one thing to own a space. It is another thing to become an authority in that space. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It is one thing to own a space. Another thing to become an authority in a space. Are you guys with me? It's really, really important. Now, one of the ways to become an authority in a space is number 1, the number of places you are seen. giving out information, quality information about that space. How many webinars have your face? How many places have you spoken about it? Does that make sense? That's number one. Number two, how many people are currently authorities in that space that you relate to or relate with? So let me give you an example. You look at me now. You probably go to, okay, I went for an event yesterday, Men on Demand conference by Niya Desonia. He's an amazing man, an authority. He's the highest paid executive, highest paid coach in Nigeria. I think it takes about $11,000 to $20,000 per coaching session or stuff like that. I can't exactly remember. Now the long and short of it is this, guys. Listen to me carefully. If you see me snapping with him, and that's the space I'm in, let me look for another authority. Maybe probably John Obidi, maybe Sholade Shaki. I'm looking for Nigerian names. Are you hear what I'm saying? And you see me with all those pictures on my profile. Listen, it does not exactly mean I am good. But let me tell you how the masses will think. They'll say, that guy has been with, has he not been with? Are you hear what I'm saying? And that is one of the ways it will appeal to their vanity metrics. And little by little, their ranking of you in that space will begin to go up. How many authorities in your space can you relate with? And not just to relate with, to publicly relate with. Very important. Right? So you need to ask yourself, where are the events in my field? Where are they happening? Go there, take those pictures. Are you with me? You want to be a DJ, you want to be a music artist. Apart from the fact that you're actually putting effort and releasing quality material, you have to be going for concerts. When you can, take a picture with whoever you want to. Take a picture with Whiskey, take a picture with whoever, Davido, whoever you want to take a picture with. If you're in the personal development space like me, where is Nia Deson you are speaking? Where is look for those people and take pictures, associate with them. Let your face be constantly seen around the masters. They will start thinking you are a master soon, and you should also want to become a master. So it's not just face ID. Are you with me? Very important, right? So let's run away from there and talk about two other things, and then we'll bring this to a wrap. Next thing is that in turning your water to wine, the first thing I said is you must see your name as an asset and invest in it. The thing I talked about was furthering on that. Now the next thing I want you to realize is that, listen to me, opportunities are not equally distributed. Find the rivers of water and plant yourself. And I heard this from the first time I heard this, I had to pause and think about this again. So it's a popular scripture, right? Like I said, I have a Christian bias, so if you don't, I'm sorry. But I mean, regardless, scripture is an amazing book of wisdom, right? There's a popular scripture in Psalm chapter 1 and verse 3, right? And it's a scripture that is a hack to life if you get it, right? I heard this verse explained by John Obidi. Psalms chapter 1 and verse 3. Is it Psalms? I believe so. Yeah. It says, he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither. Whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. I want you guys to listen to me very carefully. Whatsoever he doeth shall what? Shall prosper. Why? Is it because it's the best tree? No. Simply because it's planted by the rivers of water. This is very important. I know, we say location, you can blow from anywhere. The world is a global. See, let's stop deceiving ourselves. Let me give you an example. If someone was working in an isolation center and the other person was working in just in an office, who has a higher chance of contacting COVID-19? By the way, as at the time this webinar is going on, there's an outbreak of COVID-19, right? So disease, you can Google it, right? Are you guys with me? The one who is in the isolation center has the higher chance of contacting COVID-19. Why? Because that environment is saturated with that possibility. Every possibility you are looking for has a hub. You must locate yourself around that place. Every reality, everything you want to become has a hub. Now, when I'm talking about finding the hub of your opportunities, it's not just about going to a place. There are WhatsApp groups. There are certain social media you have to take seriously. There are certain places, there are certain people, there are certain gatherings you have to be at. You optimize your chance of luck simply by being in some places consistently. So luck itself is not evenly distributed. Luck is not evenly distributed. You can increase your chances of being lucky the same way you can increase your chance of catching COVID-19 simply by being some places. Very, very important, right? It's possible to be skilled, but be far from the place where you're skilled can be turned into greatness. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? It's like you want to be a spoken word artist and you're in Benue State or you're in Nasarawa. Your chances are low. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? There are certain people. Oh, let me give you this example. How many of you, if I ask you guys, when you were back then in school, probably secondary school or even university, you will find out that there are certain people. Are you guys following me? There are certain people. If there is an exam and few minutes to the exam, you get into where they are talking, you just know that there's a high chance whatever you were meant to score in that exam will go up by like 5 to 10. How many of us know this kind of people? Right? Some of you are those people, some of you know those people. So what you will do is you will simply look for their cluster. Shook your head there. They will know something. They have something. There's a conversation they will have. Are you with me? It's very important. Right? Opportunities are not equally distributed. They are not evenly distributed. If you want to become an authority in a space, there is an unfair. Some of you know that there are certain places you will go. You have a high chance of meeting a star. For example, I hear that it's almost impossible to be at the airport for 3 days and not come in contact with a star. When I mean a star, it could be a music star. That place has a high concentration because there's no other way they will get out of the country. Do you understand what I'm saying? But then you can stay and never meet them. But ask those who are working in airports, they've probably met a lot of stars because that's the only place. Do you understand what I'm saying? Very, very important. So you must find where is the opportunity advantage of my space and plant yourself there. Be like that tree. Don't plant yourself far from the waters. Look for the waters and plant yourself. Does that make sense? I'll take 2 more and I'll just wrap up this webinar. The next one is what I call timing. Timing. If you are going to be someone who moves really, really fast in life, you are one who is going to be sensitive to timing. And this is a very simple example that I have for you guys. Imagine somebody came to tell you the answers to the exam after the exam. It is useful, but it's useless. Timing has made that information useless. There was a popular passage in the Bible called the Pool of Bethesda. Called the Pool of Bethesda, and something happened there. An angel usually will come and stir that pool, and the first person to jump in was going to be healed. If you were the second person on the top, that was your business. You are just going to swim. You had to be the person who jumped in first. How many of you remember during COVID-19, where hand sanitizers were super expensive? I mean, almost 10 times the price. So imagine you were in a business of selling hand sanitizers. Are you guys with me? And then you did not take advantage of that period and increase your price. Now you want to increase your price. It's too late. Does that make sense? It's too late. You will not sell. That time was sensitive. Give me a second. It was a sensitive period. Are you guys with me? There are time sensitive periods that you must learn to take advantage of. Time sensitive activities. Are you guys with me? That you must learn to grab if you are going to move fast. Time sensitive activities that you must learn to grab if you're going to move fast. Very, very important. Right? You must, I'm going to talk about something in the Early Millionaires Conference. By the way, if you don't know what that is, a conference that we're having. It's a paid conference. I'm going to be with you for 6 hours and wash your head. That's the only definition I have of the Early Millionaires Conference. It's a conference where I'm going to wash your head, period. Right? I'm going to wash your head. Right? If you attend that conference, you don't have any choice again but to blow. Right? The Early Millionaires Conference is an amazing conference, right? I'm going to be talking about something. By the time you are arriving at something, it's already late. It's already late. So you are one who must maximize timing. Timing. For example, we're talking about some real estate opportunities that we had open to some people, right? I remember we had that open, and I went with some young people, very young people. I went to see that property, right? And the property was so cheap, and then it was, super cheap. And then we saw people taking advantage, and they even had a 50% discount, right? So we saw people taking advantage of it. Now, are you aware that I think it was in about 7-8 days there, but that property is going to double the price? But then timing, very important. Are you guys with me? Right? You must sustain the ability to jump in very fast. Jump in very, very fast. Does that make sense? You must master seizing opportunities. If opportunities are the only things that fuel your preparation, then you will always never be prepared for opportunities. Do you hear what I said? So I was asking when is the EM conference. Let me get that across to you. Did you hear what I just said, guys? If opportunities are the only things that fuel your preparation, then you will always miss opportunities, because opportunities must meet you prepared. So if you're always waiting for it, it means by the time it comes, you will always be unprepared. You must be ready. Some of you will meet people who have capital that can change your life, but you are not ready. Go for every event ready to pitch yourself. What do you do? I do a lot of things. No, you have missed it. Practice your 1-minute pitch. Be ready to jump in. Are you guys with me? Be ready to jump in. Be ready to jump in. Be ready to jump in. Right? I see an opportunity, I jump in. I risk myself inside. For example, there's I think my admin can send the link of I don't know what I said. Send the link to the financial mentorship group. For example, we have we have something that we help people do. right? We have a savings challenge, right, that will help people to just keep money. I've seen very time sensitive opportunities. So you have an opportunity that is time sensitive, but then you miss it because you don't have any savings. They tell you this thing, oh, it's at a discount, but you don't even have money, right? So you must be prepared. The early, okay, since a lot of people are asking, let me just show you guys the early millionaires poster. Give me a second. So it is the 22nd to 24th December. It's a 3-day workshop. I'm going to be with them for 6 hours, right? And like I said, I'm going to literally wash your head. That's all I can say. That's all. If they ask me what the millions about, it's just about me washing your head. It's about me washing your head, right? That's all I can say, right? So you probably can see it is blocking my face, and that's intentional, right? Okay, let me stop my video for a while. So this is the early millionaires conference, early millions conference. It is running from 22nd to all the way to the 24th. The date is not here, right? And usually early bird slots have already closed. You're meant to get it at $100. I didn't even plan to show you guys this on this webinar, but if you want to join in, there's a link, the bit.do/em conference, right? So you can join in. It is, I'm going to wash your head. No, I'm going to wash your head. I am going to wash your head. That's what I can say. Right, so probably someone can just help me type that in, bit.do/em conference. Right, joining in there is going to be amazing. All I can say is I'm going to wash your head. I'm going to imagine me having 6 hours with you. You know, I was thinking of having it 6 hours, but then I'm even saying I think it's actually going to be 18 hours. That's 6 hours per day. But don't worry, even if you can't access it, you have access to the recordings even after the webinar. If you're also listening to this at some point in time after the 22nd, 24th, you'll probably also be able to get access still with the same link. That's to the recording of the webinar, right? So if something you're interested in getting, just hit the link bit.do/em conference. Someone can help me project that or type that in the, what do you call them, in the chat box. Right, so back to what I was saying, right? That's the third thing I want you to pay attention to. And then the last thing I'll talk about before I round up is community. What did I say? Community. No matter what you are doing, start building a community. Should I say that again? No matter what you are doing, start building a community. I'll say that one last time. No matter what you are doing, start building a community. Very important. Telegram group, mailing list, YouTube channel, WhatsApp group. Start building a community. And this is exactly why. Listen, what a community really does. I told you something, that there are 3 metrics you need to build. People need to know you, people need to like you, and people need to what? They need to trust you. Those 3 things are very important. If people know you and they like you but they don't trust you, that's not good. Trust is built over time. That's actually the bitter truth. Trust is built over time. And what a community does is very simple. A community is simply you taking some people out. It's like bringing people out and consistently pushing your credibility in their direction to increase the metrics of knowledge. That's them knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. Whatever you are doing, let me tell you. Because what happens is when you want to sell, when you want to have an event, when you want to do anything, you're writing a book, you have to convince people. But the truth is that a community helps you to already have convinced people. So while others are just trying to probably build landing pages and get people, there are already a set of people whose hearts are burning in your direction, whose hearts are blazing. Does that make sense? They don't doubt you, and that's because you have consistently fed them information. So whatever you are doing, create a community. Does that make sense? I've talked about 4 things. I'm going to treat about 20 in the Early Millionaires Conference that if you can pay attention to, they will give you speed. So what's the first thing I talked about? Everyone, let's type it. I talked about what? Seeing your name as an asset and investing in it. I talked about the fact that opportunities are not equally distributed. I talked about timing. I also talked about community. But this is 4 out of 20, right? I want you to do something for me. Take a screenshot, put this everywhere, tag me on Instagram. My Instagram username is forexemoji. Even if you're watching this video after, please also do so, right? Of whatever you have learned, and tag me. I'll be sure to give you a repost. That's the first thing I want you to do. And then, like I said, if you are interested in the Early Millions webinar, we'll allow you have it at $13.99, very important, rather than $100. That's about, I think, $6.997, right? It's either you can choose to click that link, bit.do/EM conference, or you can send a message to me on Instagram. My username is forexemoji, right? One last thing, if you are not yet in the group, I think the link is in this video, right? Join in for instant updates. There's some amazing things that we're going to have this December. Ensure you join the channel. Does that make sense? One last thing I wanted to say before I wrap this up is I'm seeing some people DMing me already about, I was talking about an opportunity, right? So yes, I'm going to assist. It's something that we want to do. We want to assist young people, right? We want to assist young people to have landed property at a very young age, right? So if that's something you're going to be interested in, you can also send me a DM on Instagram at forexemoji. And lastly, for everyone I get to speak, I like to do something. Send me a message on Instagram. Are you with me? With the words CF. That's letter C and F. So just follow me and type CF. Once you type that, I will add you to my close friends on Instagram. I would usually share some very valuable information there consistently across board. I share that only with my close friends, right? I want you to do that, and you'll be able to receive that. So everyone who sends me with the word CF, I'll actually add you to that. Does that make sense? So once again, thank you guys for joining the Early Millionaires webinar. I think it's a good place to wrap it up. This is an amazing place to wrap it up, right? This is an amazing place to wrap it up. Yeah. So yeah. Do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions? You know what? Also, if you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram. Does that make sense? So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Ensure that you share this everywhere on your Instagram status and tag me on Instagram. Like I said, I'll do well to respond. So yes, let's have an amazing day. See you at the Early Millionaires Conference. Well, we'll wash your head. Right? I will wash your head. Right? So once again, let's have an amazing day.